Now turning to the internal struggle in the Catholic Church, something we do cover periodically. How does an institution that dates back centuries reconcile traditional teachings with the modern world? It's a topic, as I say, we continue to cover on this program, and most recently when the Church accused the vast majority of American nuns of pursuing, quote, a radical feminist agenda. And now a Catholic priest in Ireland says that he's been threatened with excommunication because of his liberal stance on issues like homosexuality and contraception. Father Tony Flannery, welcome from Ireland.
Thank you very much. Good evening to you.
Good evening. So tell me, what is it that the Vatican says it's going to do to you? What is it that you're doing that they don't like?
Well, they originally, almost a year ago, complained about certain of my writings, which had to do mainly with fairly obscure theological issues about the origins of priesthood and the church. But we largely sorted that out, and we thought we had the problem solved last summer. But then in the autumn, they asked me to write a further document in which I would state that I accept the current Vatican teaching that there can never be the ordination of women as priests in the Catholic Church, and also that I accept all the sexual moral teaching of the Catholic Church, and that includes issues like contraception, like homosexuality, issues like that. And what they wanted me to do was to put my name to that document and to publish it. And until such time as I do that, I will not be allowed to minister as a priest. Mm-hmm. So that is the position I'm in now. I cannot put my name to that document because it would contradict what I and many... Yes?
So you're saying you cannot do it because it would contradict what you believe in. But have they threatened to excommunicate you, or have they just stopped you from acting as a priest right now?
Both. They have threatened to excommunicate me in a document that I have here from the Vatican. But one of my difficulties with documents from the Vatican, if the listeners can see that, it doesn't either have a heading, it's in no way an official document, it has no signature. And that's one of my difficulties. I've been dealing with this for 11 months. I have never had any direct communication with the Vatican. I've never had a chance to meet my accusers to explain myself.
Mm-hmm. Sir?
I cannot put my name to this document because it would contradict what I've been saying for years and what indeed most Irish Catholics believe.
Father, we have actually tried to contact the Vatican and the particular Vatican watchdog that you say is threatening you, and we have had no success in reaching them. But let me quote something that you have... Let me just quote part of what got you into trouble. It was something that you wrote in articles like this about a female theologian you worked with. I cannot accept a thesis that would suggest that the Spirit of God was speaking more powerfully through me or my fellow priests than through her. When you write that, what is your goal?
I'm stating something that I believe, that my understanding of church is a community where all people are treated equally. We are all baptized. We are all equal members of the church, and our gender should not enter into it. Men or women, our sexual orientation should not enter into it. We should all be equal, free members of the church. That is my vision of church. That's the vision I grew up with after the Second Vatican Council.
Well, certainly when you joined the priesthood, it was a much open church, and the Second Vatican Council had lots of reforms. But I don't believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that they ever condoned homosexuality or the ordination of female priests. So I guess the question everybody wants to know is, if you do believe so strongly in that, and you do think that the church is so out of touch with the needs of a modern ministry, can you stay in that church, or should you go to a different church that has different policies?
Oh no, I absolutely intend to stay in the Catholic Church, whether I'm allowed to minister or not. You see, I'm not looking for these changes overnight. I'm not looking for expecting the ordination of women overnight. my problem is that we're not even allowed to discuss these things. And in terms of homosexuality, my problem is when the Vatican says things like that a homosexual person is in a disordered state, or when they use phrases like intrinsic evil about homosexual acts. I'm constantly in my ministry as a priest, when I was allowed to minister, meeting parents of sons and daughters who had come out as gay, and that's happening a lot in Ireland at the moment. And I could see the enormous pain that was being caused to them by the public stances of the Vatican at the moment. There is no way that I could possibly put my name to a statement that accepts that type of attitude.
So
but
Father,
I will not leave the Catholic Church. This is where I belong.
Father, obviously what you've written in your op-ed stating your position publicly now has drawn a lot of attention. There are some groups who are saying you may be very liberal on certain issues, but when it comes to the issue of child abuse, which has really rocked your profession over the last many, many years, you have taken a very illiberal stance. They say you have not come out sufficiently strongly and condemned it. So I'm giving you the opportunity here. Do you condemn in no uncertain fashion the sexual abuse and violence that has been visited on so many children by priests, both in your country, here in the United States, and elsewhere, by Catholic priests?
Absolutely, and I have no idea where that quotation that you're basing your comment on has come from. It possibly comes from the fact that I'm one of the founders and leaders of the Association of Catholic Priests, and we work to help and support priests in every situation. But I absolutely, wait a minute, yes, just let me finish.
Yes, I would like you to state your position on this.
Children. I'm just going to do that. I absolutely condemn the sexual abuse of children by anybody, and I have very good reason to do that, because I myself was a victim of child sexual abuse when I was young, not by a priest, but by a neighbour. So I have very personal experience of the awfulness and the destructiveness of that. So I absolutely and totally condemn that.
Father Flannery, that's an amazing confession that you've made, admission that you've made, and we appreciate that, and we continue to follow your story. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much. Good evening.